End-of-life decisions may not be the easiest subject to broach with your doctor. But a recent poll of 17,000 physicians shows that for the first time ever, a majority of U.S. doctors now support medical aid in dying, signaling a massive shift for a nationwide movement known as Death with Dignity. But as support for the movement continues to grow, right to choose legislation is being met with opposition from an unlikely place: disabilities rights groups, who believe disabled people could be easily victimized by these laws.
I have met and know people who were being steered towards physician-assisted suicide, and they either said no or didn't take it, and they were deemed terminal then, and they're still leading productive lives. And so that is my biggest concern.
Niehaus, who is herself a double amputee, says that allowing medical aid in dying is a slippery slope, one that diminishes the value of life for elderly and disabled people.
From an individual perspective, it often makes sense. But when we look at the bigger issues, at a lot of the abuses that come from this legislation, these types of legislation, when we look at the effects that it has on people with disabilities, I think people would make different choices.
To find out more about the law itself, we spoke with Gwen Fitzgerald of Compassion and Choices, who says that safeguards do exist specifically to protect against such abuse.
It's a very precise set of circumstances. First of all, it's terminally ill people with a prognosis of 6 months or less who have to be mentally competent to make their own decisions and who are still capable of self-administering the medication. And if you have those criteria set up, if those are either written into laws or if those are the criteria that physicians require before they'll write the prescription, then you have a pretty strong foundation that would ward off any possible misuse or abuse or coercion.
This discussion recently rose to prominence through the case of Brittany Menard, a 29-year-old woman with terminal brain cancer who chose to end her life through a medical prescription under Oregon's Death with Dignity law. And the same stipulations that surrounded Brittany's choice to die are written into bills now pending in several U.S. states, where the outcome of the legislation is in line only with the patient's wishes and desires if they are deemed terminally ill. Then the choice to die is theirs, and theirs alone. It may be true that not every case will be like Brittany Menard's. It may also be true that being deemed terminally ill could sometimes be subjective. But at the heart of the debate is the question of personal choice and whether or not growing support for this movement will inevitably lead to federal legislation that supports a person's right to die on their own terms. Manuel Rapalo, RT, Washington.